We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Show Must Go On line. Today's guest is Ellis AKA JEllis. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Hey, y'all, how's it going? Hey, bway, so glad to be here with you.
Feeling that good energy, feeling all those good vibes. Slimbo is here as my co-host, and we are going to play today. We are going to sing. We are going to freestyle, and we are going to get to know more about you. So let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. And let's hear your origin story. How did you get into theater and all of that?
Well, I never was actually a child. So when they picked me up from the plant, no, I'm
Perfect. I love where this is starting.
I have humble beginnings in good old Ohio, the Midwest, not the most proud of Ohio this year, but, still an Ohio boy at heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, which is like right in between Detroit and Cleveland. It would be like if like Detroit and Cleveland had a one night stand, never meant to have a baby, but they had a baby. It would be Toledo, Ohio, where I'm from.
Amazing.
And I started out always singing in church, and my family isn't a very musical family. I have a brother who plays the drums, but there was always music in my house. My parents loved having music around. So I grew up listening to music, and I sang in choirs. And I didn't really get involved in theater seriously until high school. I did fun stuff, for like church pageants and school Christmas play. But when I was about 16 years old, I had an injury and I couldn't play football that season. And the drama teacher was like, you really should audition for the play. And I auditioned for a play. It was Canterbury Tales. And I never did the show because I healed and I thought football was everything, or I thought that people expected me to think football was everything. So I dropped out and played football for the rest of the season. But it lit a fire inside of me. I felt so much comfortable, more comfortable on the stage and in the theater crew than I did trying to be a macho, toxic man on the football field. And so then the next year I tried out for the musical Cats, and I played Old Deuteronomy that year, and that was like my first on stage role in front of a larger audience was Old Deuteronomy and Cats. And then I just never stopped.
What a first performance. That is so fun. I feel like that went on such a journey right there because so the funny thing about the Canterbury Tales is I have a friend from Canterbury in the UK, in England, and we used to tease her at summer camp. So I was like, ooh, I can't wait to hear about this. And then it was like, oh no, it's kind of like a High School Musical feeling that we're going to the sports. Do I do sports? Do I do theater? And then you went that route, and then you came back to theater. So what was it about the theater crew that made you feel so comfortable?
Well, I always was into music quite a bit. And I was, into the arts. I loved creating and drawing and, was very into all of that. So I felt that my natural tendencies and the things that I enjoyed the most just kind of fit into the essence of what theater and the arts are. I'm the youngest of five, and I'm the youngest of six. I have five siblings. I always mess that up. I'm the youngest of six. I have five siblings. I have four brothers, and I'm the baby. And a lot of them, most of them are athletes. So I felt a lot of family pressure to jump into sports and be athletic. And, I love being active, and fitness is a big part of my life and what I like to advocate. But sports ball has kind of fallen to like performance levels to play a basketball player or a boxer or a football player. Not necessarily be one. And I think also just I'm a nerd. I'm a big geek. I love to get into, weird niche, like kind of specific fun things and just kind of geek out. And so I, always just enjoyed people being true to their authentic selves. And I think that's what theater kind of opens us up to is, learning more about who we are and things that we enjoy and sharing that unabashedly. And so I just felt comfortable.
That's so beautiful. I see Miranda commenting, hello, the arts always save us. And that feels so true. I mean, there are so many times that the arts have been there for us, whether we're in it or watching it or immersed in it. And it's funny because I played soccer, basketball, and softball in high school, and then I did musicals, and like it was that same thing of like I love both, but now as I'm older, I'm like, but really, theater's my passion.
Totally, I couldn't agree with that more.
That is awesome. Okay, so I am hearing a little feedback, and I'm just gonna make sure here that my audio is synced up. Let's try this out. We're going to do some, I got these fancy little headphones here, and we're going to try them out.
All right. Oh, earpods.
Ooh. I hear you, right? It's like you are in my head. It's like a squip if you know Be More Chill. So I'm loving this.
Yes. Oh man, I love Be More Chill. A few of my friends were in it on Broadway, and actually, my undergraduate program that James Pinka, who's been on the show before, was a attendee of as well. Baldwin Wallace Conservatory. They got like the Off-Broadway regional premiere of this so long ago, and did it at Playhouse Square. So I saw it actually their version before I saw it on Broadway, and it's such a fun show.
Right. I listen to it all the time. It's one of the shows I've seen most. I think I saw it 5 or 6 times on Broadway.
Yes. I love that. I think that all of our maybe alter egos or secret yin is to be the squib. He's so fierce. They, them, that entity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Okay. So if anyone at any technical difficulties on your end that maybe has caused by this change or whatever, please just let us know. This is fun. This is casual. We want to make sure that it works for you. And all of your comments are just coming right in. Shannon, Miranda, Lily, Emily, Eva. This is awesome. Amy. Oh my gosh. And
hey
surprised
guys.
how much you enjoyed. Yes. Hello, friends. So many friends. We have friends from Freestyle Love Supreme Academy. And we will get all into that. We have some Showtreons here. Y'all are awesome. The bwaySHO Patreons and some Twitterico. I mean, this is just representing so much fun. The first interview of 2021. So I'm really glad that we could kind of start it with these positive vibes. So I feel like I would be remiss. We are now about 8 minutes into this conversation, and I feel like we should talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. As you can see here, I'm wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt. Black Lives Matter. Black trans lives matter. I mean, come on. These are just factual statements. How are you feeling with everything that's been going on?
Ooh. That's decompress. Okay.
Yeah.
Let some of the steam out of the pot. And now, okay. How do I feel right now? I feel that I am disappointed. I am upset. I am angry. I am sad. I am all of the things that, we're expected to feel, those of us who have always respected American democracy and, attended social studies and believed in our civils courses and government policy and things like this. But I am not in the least bit shocked and surprised. To me, it feels like chickens coming home to roost. As far as I can remember, there's been a horrible wave of nationalism and specifically white supremacy causing terrorist attacks, speaking back to one of the earliest things I can remember, which was the Oklahoma City bombing with Timothy McVeigh. The narrative has often been painted that those from various other groups have been, terrorists or, provoking violence. However, most of the violence I've seen in this level has been stemmed from white nationalists and white supremacy. I think that this country was founded in a manner that gave people that belong to that demographic an upper hand. And it was also founded by angry white men with guns. So, not to be brash, but when I see a large group of predominantly angry white men with guns taking the Capitol, it feels more full circle than anything. And I am just as shocked and appalled at this as I was at Breonna Taylor's murder, George Floyd's murder, Trayvon Martin's murder years and years and years ago, and none of the justice being served for that. So to me, it's more of a snowball than an explosion. And at least for this part, I feel that I've been able to sit back and watch some reckoning happen with those in America that may not have been as privy to that perspective.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very well said. It's just so horrible on so many levels, but as you said, like, not surprising. And that's also just this reckoning that it's, there's so many of us, like I said, from the theater community. And we had Hamilton a few years ago that I think started to like turn some attention of, oh, maybe there are things that we haven't been paying attention to. And then those started to like snowball into, well, maybe we should be paying more attention. And, oh, what are these Black actors saying? We should listen to what they're saying beyond just what's on the stage and what they're saying in real life. And are they as safe outside of the theater as they are on that stage? And then, of course, this year and the last 4 years, things have just been going so aggressively. And it's about time for people to wake up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do think that, if anything, the last 4 years have been a wake up call. But America has always painted a gilded facade. I mean, literally, the American dream has been something that's almost unobtainable for most Americans, as far as having, a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, a dog, 3 bedrooms, you know what I mean? And, it's like, that's been unrealistic for a lot of people for a long time. And yeah, I agree. Hamilton definitely shook up the scene as far as people saying, hey, we are all a part of America. The American dream is what we are. It's not something that is, leave it to Beaver. But also theater has always been in a place to be a social critic and to, add catharsis to society and to make us self-examine and think, is this positive for me? Is this negative for me? Is this good? But that being said, Black voices in American contemporary theater and traditional theater have been vastly underrepresented as far as their own narratives. Black stories are often told from a different scope via a white writer or a best friend who grew up with, Boo Radley. You know what I mean? You very seldom are getting some of the messages that I think in the last 4 years have been broadcasted more, and the need for that kind of voice. And by no means do I think we're there, but I think we're at a great launching point. I mean, so many shows that we've done and we love are very problematic. I mean, everybody wants to be Black on a Saturday night until they're getting shot protesting in the streets. And it's like, I think listening to that ear and using that as a projector for the theater community is something that has taken off vastly. And, hearing people tell their stories and reading online these accounts of horrible things that have happened, from producers silencing writers to actors being told, they're not ethnic enough or urban enough, or to, change things and put a different perspective that is, seemingly more urban or accessible. Those stories are dreadful, but they're also not new. They are a very everyday, normal thing for those of us who have been minorities in theater. And it's, I think, very akin to what a woman feels like walking down the street in New York past construction workers, just expecting to get a cat call. Glad if it doesn't happen, but not crazily shocked when it does. And when these things happen in theater, I've often forgotten how shocking they are, you know, until recently seeing people respond like, whoa, that's crazy. I can't believe it. And most of us are just like, you know, that's commonplace.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, when I think it was in July when the Broadway Advocacy Coalition had this like 3-day seminar series and told some of these stories that they're horrible. They're just horrible things of and women's hair being like touched and being like, oh no, this isn't black enough. And it's like, what? This is not your space to be saying that. There's just so many things that I, as a friend of some people, that I was like, I didn't know that this was happening to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't there to know that that happened. Like, what can we do moving forward? But also, you don't need to be the one to tell me what to do. Let me do some research because you've been hurt enough. And it's time for us to kind of take some of that luggage on.
That's been a great awakening. I agree with as well. Now, in the theater, though I'm splitting hairs here as far as like what's acceptable and what's not, it still has been the most progressive space in our culture and in our society. Not saying that we have it made, you know, but it is, at least, especially musical theater, a spot that has, you know, pushed the envelope about what is acceptable and what is the, you know, status quo, you know, especially because most of us are artists and belong to various minority groups, whether it's, you know, religious groups, you know, whether it's gender-based, sexual orientation-based, racial, ethnic, socio-ethnic, you know, it's the melting pot there. And not to be rude, but people with conservative viewpoints normally don't last long in the scene. They tend to, you know, float various areas. But that being said, I think what we need to do to go forward is face the ugly realities that are still within this accepting community. Like, you know, I hate to, you know, be trite or, you know, go there, but the whole Amy Cooperism of like, you know, this person is liberal, this person may be a minority of sorts, this person is, you know, socially conscious and, you know, with it, and maybe in the theater community, but that does not bar them from microaggressions, stereotypes, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, things that have been projected and injected to us from society and our upbringing. It's all of our jobs to check that privilege and make sure that we're constantly working towards equality. And in the theater space, I don't want to say we get lazy with it, but I think we get comfortable. And we think it's okay to say and do certain things because, you know, we're all part of the same community. But no, it's not. And I think dealing with that ugly face and listening to the voices who have been affected by that is the only way to go forward. But since that's been happening, I mean, I think the art that's been coming out of it is gorgeous.
Yeah. Wow. Are there any Black artists, Black voices right now that are specifically resonating with you?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. One of my favorite Black voices right now, as far as an artist goes, is Toby Nwigwe. He is amazing. Okay. Toby Nwigwe is it's very theatrical as far as the presentation of his art and his music videos and his live performance, but it's definitely more of a recording artist moment. But he is totally taking Black culture in, you know, gobs of truth and broadcasting our voices and our realities into a mainstream format. Also, I think that he's advocating for Black women, for Black queer artists as well. And that is so cool to me. Like, I'm just a huge fan of his music right now and everything he's been doing in the movement. Oh, and also, one moment, because it's right here, so I wanted to grab it. Ibrahim X Kendi. I know that this is, you know, maybe not necessarily a performing art, but it's a literary art. All of his writing right now is just on point, spot on, has been for years, but glad that he's coming to the forefront. And personally, I've been getting into more of that reading as well, specifically his. So I think those two artists right now are speaking to me a lot. Also, I would be remiss to not talk about, a Black trans voice that I think is amazing right now. And this person is, genderqueer and, really, really putting it down on the social media platforms. And it's Erica Hart. The platform is I Heart Erica. And, this is just an extremely amazing individual with a very, very interesting voice, and does a lot of like ally advocacy, teammate work, reaching out to those who might not necessarily be Black and letting them know this is a way to deal with the community, and this is a way to go about things, and this is a way to relate with your Black friends and relate with your trans friends and relate with your Black trans friends, and without being offensive. And she's very blatant and very frank, and I think just like a beautiful spirit, and is delivering some great messages right now as well.
Yeah, thank you for all that. I'm definitely going to check them out. And I think sometimes having frank conversations are what we need, because sometimes we just tiptoe because we're awkward and we don't want to say the wrong thing. But this is a learning experience for everyone. And if you stay too comfortable, kind of like what you were saying with theater, nothing happens, no progress happens. So we need to be a little uncomfortable. We need to have these uncomfortable conversations. And I think, normally we wait till the end of this series to have to talk about a nonprofit or charity, but I feel like this really perfectly transitions into the one you were talking about when we were messaging before. So do you want to give them a shout out?
Yes, I would. I would love to shout out the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition. It's just an amazing charity, y'all. The work that the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition is doing with COVID-19, specifically giving COVID relief to communities that are overlooked vastly. I mean, think of the Black trans community for a hot second, and the murder rates and the suicide rates. And that doesn't define them whatsoever. That does not make the joy and the beauty and the art and the everything that comes from this movement and this community and these humans. But that being said, when people are in that disparaged of a social economic group, when things like a pandemic hit, they are already downtrodden. And to have things like that pile up and losing jobs is a lower blow. And just, I think in the last year, the things I've seen them do with COVID relief for trans folk is absolutely amazing. And also in the Black community, there is a lot of homophobia and there is a lot of transphobia. Now, again, that doesn't define the community, and it's not the stereotype, because most of the empathy, compassion, and love that I have, I've learned from Black women, just keeping it real. And we see what that does in America right now. They flipped the election, and arguably Stacey Abrams single-handedly flipping Georgia. That being said, there is some of that within the Black community. And I think, just as we said in the theater community, there are some ugly truths that we need to dig out and we have to deal with. And I do think this can be more of an ingrown hair, dealing with homophobia and transphobia in the Black community. So a charity that advocates for that and gives them a voice and a space and puts funding behind that in society is something that I really, really support and love.
Beautifully said. And a lot of times we do need to look within our own communities to make change. I know, specifically within the Jewish community, I've been seeing a lot of work being done, because a lot of times people have been saying, at least the way I was brought up was like, Jewish people look like me. I could be on a carton of like, oh, look, she looks Jewish, but people look Jewish in so many ways, right? I mean, we've got Daveed Diggs is Jewish and proud, and gave us one of the most beautiful Hanukkah songs, Puppy for Hanukkah, got a puppy for Hanukkah. Speaking of, okay, Slim, I will let him out, and then I will continue this very important conversation.
I love Daveed. I mean, like, also the same mix of Daveed, Drake, about as big a celebrity as you can get, too.
Black and Jewish, Black and Jewish.
Black and Jewish.
Was that an SNL song he did, or maybe just one of his songs?
I live for that.
Yeah, that was
I
so
wanted to
good.
be Jewish so bad when I was a kid. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted a bar mitzvah so bad. Okay, like friends had bar mitzvahs and they were freaking cool. And I was like,
Legit.
yo, I also wanted I also wanted a quinceañera too. So I had a sweet 15 party as a nice compromise in between 16 and 13. And I was not allowed to card a quinceañera. I have not adopted any cultures that aren't mine. I love my culture, but I really wanted a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my bat mitzvah was certainly a highlight of sorts, and it was a fun time. And it's so weird too when you're like 13. 13. There's so much going on.
Shout out Ariana Grande.
Right? It's so funny that I saw 13 twice, once during previews and then once after it opened. And I remember like a few years ago, my friend Jackie was like, "Did you know we saw Ariana Grande in 13 years ago?" I'm like, "Oh my God, you're right."
Take off the bronzer, take off the high pony, and she's right there.
Just another Jew like me. Oh my gosh. This is great. This is pretty much exactly how I thought this conversation would be going. Just candid, open, getting some stuff out.
Listen,
it's great.
It's 2021. Who has time for anything else? All right.
Mm-mm.
And you can't kick me out of my own house. So I think people are a little bit more free about how they're feeling and speaking these days.
Exactly. Yeah. There is this like thing about like being in your own space. I have pictures of Slim up here. I have the Slim himself just being a little bit of a monster, and I love him so much for it. So it's great. This is all making me think of okay, so we met through Freestyle Love Supreme Academy, which is so awesome. Love FLSA so much. Big hearts, big hearts. And one of the best, I mean, so having these rap recesses every Sunday and then different Wednesdays for different like collective groups has been one of the best parts of this situation, right? If we're going to be locked up in our own houses and quarantining and trying to be as safe as possible, it's nice that we can connect with people around the world. I mean, we have people from Australia and the UK and Brazil. I mean, it's amazing the reach that we're having. And you hosted one a few weeks ago, a month ago. What is time? Jeremy, bear me. I don't know.
Right. On quarantine, it's every day.
Exactly. And you were talking about ballroom culture and gave us a nice history lesson while also like trying out these new games. So can you talk about like what you presented that day?
Yeah. Okay. So at Freestyle Love Academy, at Freestyle Love Supreme Academy, we do weekly rap recesses, you know, a chance for us all to get together, flow, you know, hone our freestyle skills, connect with friends. It's amazing. And I got to lead one of the more recent ones. Yes, branded. And at this one, I wanted to highlight a counterculture for sure. And show a voice that speaks specifically to my charity even, and also specifically to my lifestyle, that has made such huge contributions to hip hop, to pop culture, to fashion, to music, to dance, to a lot of mainstream society that we have just adopted right now. And I wanted to highlight it through our format. So as I was thinking that I had like cold winter time and, you know, keeping it in the fam, I was like, oh, my theme is going to be a winter's ball. You know, keep the Hamilton vibes going.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I want to spin it and have an actual ball from the ballroom scene, from the Vogue real ball scene. And you know, shout outs to Paris is Burning, shout outs to, you know, every part of that culture, throwing it back old school and flipping it up to even pose now, which has caught on like wildfire.
Oh yeah.
Telling that story and telling that narrative. It just lends itself so well because what we do at Freestyle Love Supreme are, essentially category games. They're setups that are in different categories and themes are thrown at you that alter the category or alter the game. Which is just what happens in the ballroom scene. Essentially, you're walking a runway, you're showing off who you are, what you do, being true to your, inner self, even if it's not the person that you have been blessed to be externally. In that scene, you can be anything and do anything you want, and you showcase it based on your category. It's exactly what we do at Freestyle Love Supreme. And so I wanted to do that with our games. So I slammed the two together in a real fun way to showcase a culture of beauty, of wealth, of excellence, of opulence, of eleganza, as well as, educate part, of our community to some other voices in hip hop that may not have been as loud, but there would not have been a RuPaul. There would not have been a Big Frida. There would not be serving tea. There would not be being shady. There would not be keeping it real. All of these things would not be without the ballroom scene. Those are all points of that culture, so really cool.
Yeah. That it was honestly one of the highlights of of doing it. It was just so much fun, and learning aspect is really like, you don't necessarily go to one of these classes to learn something else outside of freestyling, but you also realize that by taking part of what their culture is, that you need to learn the history. And so by having them together and doing it in a way that's accessible through freestyling, it really helps to like make it so that you can understand it, you can appreciate it, and then you can like use it in your own way, but not taking from them. It's a really nice combination. So I thought this could be a fun little freestyle moment. If everyone in the chat just wants to like throw out some words, names, anything, awesome, we could just do a little freestyle. Because why not? I mean, I've learned, if I had started doing this before I actually took the academy, I was so scared, and I was like, I can't rap or freestyle or rhyme. And then you realize that, like, what is rhyming? What is freestyle? Like, it's whatever comes from your soul. So
everyone thinks that they can't, like it's some kind of natural born talent. And I'm like, the funny thing is when I was first learning this, art and craft around the lunch table in school growing up, like I was the one who sucked. I was the one who, and I shouldn't say suck because, who's evaluating art, but kids. Mm-hmm. And if you were being competitive, like freestyle rap and battle rap can be, I was the one who was like, hat, cat, sat, brown cow now, you tell me how. And that's dope, if you spit it with your own flair, anything can be fire. But I hung out around people who freestyle. And I just was listening and, doing it every day at the lunch table. It just, hones your craft. So it can be taught. It can't be bought.
Love that. So there is a slight delay between like what we're talking in real time and then the people. So we'll give them a few extra seconds to kind of like, get their words, suggestions, and also a little preview. We will be getting a wonderful song later on today. So just you wait.
Yeah, thanks. This past year I've been doing a lot of freestyle rap, which is amazing because it's like actually getting back to some of my roots. And one of the things that I love to do most is rap, and I love hip hop. But I haven't had a lot of opportunities to sing this year because of the stage, so this is always fun. I've sang on recordings and things, but a live song is always a good feeling.
It really is. And how did you get involved with Freestyle Love Supreme Academy?
Oh, okay, cool. I love this story. So I, have been in New York pursuing musical theater now for the last 8 years. And in that time, I've, obviously been a huge Hamilton fan, and also, a huge Hamilton auditioner. I had lots of, interest in Hamilton. I had lots of interest in everything that was rap based musical theater. Holler If You Hear Me was a huge deal for me. Just watching different shows emerge in my in my time in New York that was putting hip hop and rap into the forefront was just huge for me. In the Heights, changed blew my brain up when I was in high school, so that was like a big deal for me to be involved in that. And so when I came to New York, I learned, oh shoot, Lin-Manuel Miranda has Freestyle Love Supreme, a different group that like does this, And so I saw them back when, I first moved to the city, 2012, 2013, 14, back then. Whenever I would be in town, if I'd be out on tour or working, I would come back, make sure that I catch them once in a while. And so I was here, and found out that it was moving from the space downtown up to Broadway, and also at a time that we all can go to, the Monday night show. So I was like, yo, I'm going. And we went on preview, or not preview. I think it had opened, but it was, very early on in the run. And me and my best friend went, and we sat, and I said, man, I want to give feedback for one of the things they want us to raise our hands and contribute to. But I'm going to rate for the right one that I think like I have a good answer. I just don't want to have my hand up every time. And they picked my one. They picked the name of mine and recreated on a second chance. I got to, redo a crazy moment that happened in my adolescence on stage with them. And that was super cool. And so I saw that they had the Academy jumping off, and I wanted to hop in. I missed the first go round of the 2000 and I missed the last go round of the 2019 season. It had been the year before, and I wasn't available, but I wanted to try to jump into the 2019 season. I missed it. And so I got actually in the Academy and took the class just before the pandemic hit. My Freestyle Love Supreme Academy show was on March 9th or Tuesday. So March 10th, 11th, something like that. Yeah, crazy, right? And so one of the last things I did before this entire world changed was perform live with my Freestyle Love Supreme crew. Shout outs to BS, who was on here. He was my teacher. AT, if you guys are Freestyle Love Supreme, Alice was my TA. And
yes,
it was cool. That was like the first time I performed in a Freestyle Love Supreme Academy crew facet. And then boom, it all hit. Boom. Yeah, it all hit. And so it was so cool to be a part of connecting with everybody in our online, recesses, which literally changed most of our lives as far as what we do on a normal basis,
yeah.
And we did it, and we connected, and we expanded the Academy, and I jumped on board, and, boom. A 6-week quarantine became 9 months later. And, some things are like, I always felt weird, and I'm rambling, but I always felt weird because this year was great for me in so many ways, y'all. Like, I just became a part of an amazing community, a supportive community. I've met amazing, beautiful, talented artists and people, one I'm staring at in the face right now. And seriously, things have been great. And I lost my father this year, and a lot of weird things happened, my pops. And so it was strange in ways, but beautiful in others. And, lessons, metaphors, all the things you want to dig and unpack from that, like dig it and unpack it. But what a year.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's okay to embrace the good and the bad. Like, that's what life is taking a little bit of each and accepting what things are. If things are out of your control, it's been a tough time, but also there have been some great moments from it. So it's okay to have both. I mean, this series was birthed out of quarantine. You know, I was only doing in-person interviews. And then it was like, well, if we're going to be at home and I can reach out to anyone anywhere in the world and get to know more about them, like this is a perfect opportunity. So it's, you know, it is okay. But it's tough. I know it's tough to like dig into your heart and be like, is it okay that I'm feeling like this? Like, let your feelings come however they may be.
Yes. I am going to yes and that and take that word and let my feelings come.
Yes, perfect. So with that heart note, this little Lynn, let this be a Linspiration for you. I see you, Shockwave. I see that.
Hey, shout out to the big homie Shock.
So
Yoda.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it is just absurd what he can do. So
inspiring. Don't get me going on that moment either, but just Shock is crazy. And every time I see him do something cool like that, I'm just like, how? Teach me.
And Kayla, oh my God, when she does like the throat things, I'm like, stop, I can't handle it. It's too good, but for you, not for me.
And I hate to like be all, you know, the liberal, crazy other I am, but that's me. To see a woman do it just makes my head be like, yes, 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 yes. Girl power is always my hour. I'm like, do it, do it, do it.
Yes, love it. Preach it up, preach it up. Okay, so we have a wonderful array of words here. So I was thinking we just kind of like freestyle, like back and forth, just like finding these words, going with it. Would you rather go just like off of the metronome of your own brain, like, you know, Jelly D does that sometimes, or would you like to play a beat? Up to you.
I have a beat here. We can do both. Whatever you want is fine with me. I can play the beat that I have ready to go. Now,
Let's
can
go.
we hear it? Can we hear that?
I can hear that. I'm feeling it.
Okay. All right, let's go. Am I just pulling from the chat?
Do it. Yeah. We'll go back and forth. Take it away.
We'll go back and forth. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna scroll it up to the to the top. I see something that I know is from above. When I look at this, it's flying at me like a dove. Peace in my heart, and I feel it kind of cute. I get that love, cause you know what I'ma do. Pass it to bwaySHO for a 2. Hit up another word, you know what to do. You know, I'm not trying to be rude, but this show is coming to you live on YouTube. Take it, bway.
Thank you, Jealous. Peace, love, right back at you like it's jealousy of the brain, of the mind. You see that we have this broadcast on your TV. The 25th Amendment should be taken now because we gotta get that guy out of town. Actually, lock him up. He really sucks. We gotta get this place and take it like it's ours. And Stacey Abrams is the best. We owe her so much. We owe her like the rest. And we got another 2 people in our Congress. Yeah, sometimes you're rapping and you're trying to go to say all these things, but I'm so happy when I woke up yesterday and I saw those names that were chosen to be the next in line. So why don't you take it? Why don't you give me a rhyme?
Yo, I gotta say I'm in the booth. I am so happy to get up in here, give you the scoop. And you know I'm gonna be on that Ginsburg up here like Ruth, because I'm only coming here to spit at y'all and give you truth. Yes, it's really crazy what's happening in the world. It's hard to be a little boy and non-binary or a girl, but you gotta keep on pushing and just stay all up in it, even if we have to evoke the 25th Amendment. Yes, I gotta say I'm not excited about Mike Pence, but get this fool out because it don't make sense. Anybody could do better. I'm talking about a sweater. I'm talking about a chair outside in cold weather with nobody sitting in it. Could probably just spit it and do a little bit better than Donald Trump could ever did it. So all I have to say is, hey, get this man out. He ain't got no clout. Everybody knows what that's about. I see praise to that written in the chat, and I'm gonna just give you another nod on my hat because you know I'm gonna flip it and give it all right back. But nothing in this world matters till it matters that I'm black. My life is real important. You know what it do. I'm coming all up in here and I'm giving it to you. Hey!
I am leaving it on that note because that was so good. Oh gosh, what a brain, what a soul. Thank you. Bravo.
You did that. Your flow had me getting lit over. I was gonna jump out the chair.
It's just like one of the best things of the Academy has just like given me this freestyle brain that like, okay, you have something in your head and you're like, do I say that? And you're like, just go for it. And then, oh, it's not working. So you just say it again and you just like talk it through as you're doing it here on the YouTube. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can rhyme in time, whatever's on your dime, on your mind.
Hey, and never fall behind, because all you have to do is just get it and hit a rhyme. And if it was a watermelon, you can bite it, but don't hit the rhyme, because the seeds will grow up in you, and that's going to be all fine. Let a plant grow. Hit them with the flow. Coming to you live online with bwaySHO.
Yes. Let I'm just like, this is too much. This is perfect. All right, I'm going to now retire my hat and let these Brazilian, Egyptian, Italian, American, Jewish curls just flow right at you.
Come on, you better melt that pot. Yeah, sure. The hair that I have in my heart.
Yes, exactly. Some have it here, some have it there. I mean, hey.
I also have a few in my drawer over there too. You've seen those.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. That was so fun. Oh, cool. We're getting applauses. We're getting fantastic. Yes, I feel. Perfect. Well, okay, the time is just running right through. So let's transition here. I want to hear more about your musical background. I mean, we've got Off-Broadway, we've got national tour. Like, hit us with it. Tell us.
This is like my least favorite thing to do, is to talk about like the things that you do, but I'm working to get better at it, because, people don't know unless you tell. But I started singing when I was like 5 years old in church choirs, and just had a natural talent. And then I started taking voice lessons, kind of like as a fun thing, with Jean Holden, an Ohio legend. She just had an amazing voice and an amazing soul, and was great with kids. And so she really had me thinking like, oh, you don't just sing, there's a way to sing. And so I wanted to be good at singing. And so I kept joining choirs and doing different things like that. And it was in middle school. I heard a choir sing like this beautiful cantata, and I cried. And my choir teacher was like, do you have tears in your eyes? And I'm like, yeah, don't tell anybody. It's like, wow, you should be an artist. And that just stuck with me. And so when I got into high school, I really wanted to get involved in music. I took choir, I took music classes. I had another mentor, Luke, my old choir teacher, who like taught me how to, fake my way through reading music. And I auditioned for the Baldwin-Wallace program for voice performance at first. I wanted to do opera. I was kind of really set on opera. And I got there for like a couple of weeks, and they were like, you have to go to grad school and your voice isn't mature yet. And it takes like 8 years just to perfect the technique. And I was like, woo, super impatient, maybe not skilled enough. Can't read music well enough to even start this with these Baroque folk. So I auditioned for the musical, got in, and it just was like more of a fit. And I had lovely program directors at Baldwin-Wallace University, the conservatory there, Vicky Bussard and Scott Plate, who is retired now, but was there at the time, kind of took me under their wings. And I started, doing shows, and got my bachelor's in music from there, and moved on to New York and did the Saturday Night Fever revival. I did the first big thing I booked out of school was the Charlotte's Web first national tour. I was Templeton the Rat on that, and honestly, it was one of the funnest experiences I ever did. I did the Off-Broadway premiere of Passing Strange. I was the narrator. I played Stu. He was an amazing inspiration to their career too, and just made me feel like I had a place in music theater, and I didn't really feel like I did before that. Recently, right before the world started to get a little cray, I did a show at the Signature Black Hole Wedding on 42nd Street, and that was a lot of fun. And I've been around in New York and acting and doing this singing and performing for a while. But what I think has grown beautifully as a side moment is my coaching and instructing and teaching, which has been quite a blessing. I have students that have been on America's Got Talent. I helped coach one of my great, amazing friends who is an artist beyond what I could touch right now, Juilliard killer, Michael Slattery. He rewrote a gospel in English, a translation on his own. And I coached him with that for, the acting and lyrics and intention and, for Carnegie Hall, just some crazy things in the last year that I've been able to put my hands on and work with other artists. And that has fed me so much and given back to me so much. And, last but certainly not least, probably last, but the bulk of everything has been teaching with Freestyle Love Supreme Academy, just working there and getting to, feel supported and be a part of that community is stunning. And the crew is so inspirational. They're so open and just giving and caring and supportive and push all of us forward to pursue our own artistry and keep going and, expand on the way that we teach and the way that we learn and the way that we make art. And so I think that's been really amazing. And I think most recently, though, I've been doing this thing called Improv Junior, where I'm actually teaching babies, not like baby, but, to me, they're babies as far as on stage goes. Intro to acting and improv, ages 7 to 11 with Off-Mic Comedy School, which is America's first completely online virtual acting comedy school, which is amazing. Lots of stand-up and our improv courses as well. And having the kids there has just taken off a little spark in me as well. I think wow, I got to chat with Carly maybe, because I love this kid collaborative art moment thing. And I want to see what I can do with that too. So shout outs to Off Mic and shout outs to kids learning and kids art. It's crazy because I'll be honest. I often would separate my personal artistry from my educational artistry because I never wanted to have people misconstrue my intention, or feel like I'm chasing some kind of goal and, this is a stop on the ladder. But I think in the last year, it's been a beautiful way to meld the two. And I have no problem speaking of both of, my personal art and my teaching in the same breath, because they have so much foiled, created, grown a hybrid art that I'm doing right now and experiencing right now. So I'm just kind of bubbling about all of that.
I love how you're fanning a spark into a flame.
Oh, come on now. You have all the references.
Can't help it. It's what they come here for. Everyone's if they don't get at least a 3 bingo check of at least a couple Hamilton references, I mean, what are we even doing?
Yo, right. It's the 10 ham commandments.
Hey, yes. Well, you're making me blush with your references. This is beautiful. I'm loving this. This is perfect.
Well, I'm never satisfied, so I'm just nonstop.
I'm quite helpless hearing you speak about all this.
I know, right? But that's why, you have this audience here. They have the references and, they think they're going to take a little bit of time off, but you'll be back right here for more bwaySHO.
I've counted at least 3 different parts of this conversation that I could clip off and use as a promo. So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, use it as a promo for next week, because I guarantee you they got to wait for it. You can't just pop it out of nowhere.
Yes. And next week's my birthday.
Oh my gosh, we're almost like birthday twins. We're birthday cousins. Mine's the 20th.
January 14th. Yes,
Capricornian vibe.
Capricorns, that's what we are.
With our horns, we'll go real far. I'm an Aquarius cusp, so I'm a goat with a big old cup of water on his head, trying not to spill the crazy everywhere.
That's just perfect. I feel like that really describes your inner essence right there. Okay, so we've made you wait for it. We have shouted to the rooftops. And now it is time. I will mute my mic because I would love to hear you sing.
Oh, yay. Okay. I'm gonna sing, y'all. I'm gonna do a musical theater piece. It's from Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's called Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's called Made of Stone. And it is a crazy cool song that I found. It was given to me by a friend back in undergraduate when it was in German. And I just love it. And I was like, man, I haven't sang this song in forever. And I want to do this today. So here it goes, Made of Stone. I'm going to get my music queued up and then go into that weird musical theater actor place where we look in different directions, trying to pretend to be normal before we start an actual song. Excuse me while I get into character. What do you know of me? What do you know of all the things I feel? You're only made of stone. What is it that you see? Instead of seeing what I am for real, this twisted flesh and bone, you're a liar. With every new excuse you try out, I only want to cry out. Would that I were made of stone like you. You give such good advice, so why has not a single word you said made any sense at all? And you talk so nice, but the more your words fill up my head, the further that I fall. Shut my brain down. If I were senseless, I'd prefer it. Another gargoyle on this turret, spitting rain down to the stones below. I've wasted my faith believing on saints of plaster, but the only one worth believing in was my master. He's the one who never lied. He told me it was cruel outside. He told me how I had to hide. His words were cold as stone, but they were true. Not like you. Take all the dreams you've sown. Take all your lies and leave me alone. And now I'm on my own, never again to wonder what's out there. Let it remain unknown, and my one human eye will evermore be dry until the day I die, as if I were made of stone. Woo!
Yes! Woo! Brava! Bravissima!
Thank you.
Wow. Woo! That was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
I mean, it's the way I'm feeling after everything going on in the world right now. I'm like, you know what? If I can't, do anything to save it with love, then I'm going to be a stone gargoyle that you can't break. But I do believe we can save it with love. The rest of the story is, if you keep watching that musical, he saves the day with love. But yeah. I feel a little stony after yesterday.
Oh my gosh. I feel that. Yeah, I actually just watched that movie again for the first time in forever. For the first time in forever.
Yes.
I won't be alone.
Come
I love
on.
there.
Straight
There
out
is
of
something,
Arendelle.
you know, there's something so nice about going back to like Disney songs from your childhood and more recent ones, and like when the world does feel so dark, sometimes it's nice to go into the unknown.
Yes, it does though. I mean, like, listen, I'm a sucker for Disney, and it's like, everything has a problematic side of it in our society. But that, barring that moment, I was raised on Disney movies and musicals. It's crazy. Have you ever seen that plan that Disney had to like get our generation specifically invested in Broadway again?
No, wait, tell me more.
So like the reason they started hiring Schwartz and Menken and all these people to make the beautiful movie cartoon musicals that we grew up with was because of planning and marketing, that Disney could have a move in the Broadway live musical theater world. But they had to sow the seed and plant the seed, and wanted to get better composers to make their music and to write things that were actually, musical theater songs. And so it was definitely purposed to bring in Broadway writers and Broadway singers in the mid 80s. And that shifted everything.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. We're hooked, right? Look at Disney Plus. All of us 30-year-olds spending our money every week to keep up with the shows we love.
Yep. It's like, oh, this is another Alan Menken. Thank you so much. Oh, Stephen Schwartz, I will see you there. Yep. Yep. I was just watching Newsies like 2 nights ago.
Oh my gosh. I want to be meta one day, but I have to wait for casting. I want to be meta.
Would be the best. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I want it.
I would see it way too much. They would like all know me and they'd be like, oh, look, another female journalist come to see Newsies. Shocking. My inspiration forever. Oh, so much love. Carol Lindsay, thank you. Thank you. Truly, though, what an inspiration. Like, I was in college when I saw that on Broadway, and I was like, female reporter representation. You don't think that it's a big deal, but it's a big deal.
Always. And you know what? I will say this too, especially for Disney for stage, the things that they might not have gotten right in the late 80s and early 90s as far as casting and characters go, they really have flipped that into gear, overdrive for keeping women strong, independent, and no need for a prince to rescue them. Minorities' voices being spoken and being delivered, things like this. So they've been doing that a little bit too.
Yeah. Take a little good and the bad. I feel like this is full circle, just like we've been experiencing now with quarantine. Whoop.
The disco ball goes round.
The good and the bad, good and the bad. Get a little Anthony Ramos. So love all of them.
I've been getting his liquor commercial. I won't say a brand so that it's unspecific on TV a whole lot recently too.
I know. I remember the first time I saw that and I was like, ooh, I know him.
Yeah. I love that feeling.
And yes, okay, so we have exceeded the 1 hour. I would just like to, is there anything that you came into today wanting to make sure to share with everyone?
Well, you set me up for my biggest share that I wanted to talk about was the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition. I would love to share a cool production that I have coming up. I'm actually not performing in it. This speaks to the other part of my artistry that's been really exciting for me. I'm creating and directing a musical improv show with Baldwin Wallace University in collaboration with Playhouse Square Cleveland. It's called Bars, Beatboxing, Acting, Rapping, Singing, BW Bars. That's going to be on April 9th through the 11th. So I will make sure to share on social media tickets for that, streaming completely online. It's going to be such a cool show, live amazing performers, and a really cool thing for y'all to see. So that's like my biggest thing. And also plugging Freestyle Love Supreme Academy. Please sign up for classes, y'all. This is how we've connected. And if you're watching the show, so many of the amazing, talented folks that have been on here are a part of our Freestyle Love community, Freestyle Love Supreme community as well. So like, sign up for the Academy classes, they're great. And Off Mic Comedy School as well. If you have children that are interested in acting, singing, improv, I'm doing traditional improv as well as musical improv. So sign up your kiddos for my class. I just started the next one, and I can still take students up until next Tuesday. So you can still sign up. They only missed one class. After that, we'll see you next semester.
Wow, those are some great things coming up. I'm so excited. Definitely when bars comes up, I will share that with everyone because this is so cool. And like you said, I have made like way too many incredible friends. Like, how am I so lucky that through quarantine, I've been embraced with so many wonderful humans. And if you're considering doing the Freestyle Love Supreme
Academy.
Okay. You gotta, because it is the best. You don't need any prior experience. You don't need to be a singer, rapper, freestyler, improver, because I've always been even though I was in the musicals, I was proud ensemble, do not get me. I am happy waiting in the wings for you. And it has brought me so much joy with the friendship, but also just as a human and as a reporter, being able to so many of the same skills are listening and then responding, right? It's this is helpful for everyday use. You don't need to think, well, I don't have any job applications, but you do, because Anthony Two Touch has always spoken about doing these classes really helps you in your real life, and you don't see it until you do it. And then you realize your mind becomes more open to possibilities, and it's so great. So please, and if you have any questions, just reach out. I will be happy to talk about how much I love these amazing humans. And on that note, please let us know where everyone can find you on social media.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at JEllis14, JELLIS 14. That is my Instagram handle. From there are links to everything. Also, jcellis.com. jcellis.com is my website, and I'm gonna start being better at updating that with everything that's happening more and more in the moment. It normally gets the after effect, so check my Insta. And if you're on Facebook, find me. Facebook's not my favorite, but hey, it's what we got. You drive the car you got.
We got what we got, exactly. And y'all can find me at bwaySHO. That's bwaySHO, as you see here from this wonderful creation from Chelsea Hill, aka Illustrating Diva. And a quick few notes for you. We have a new episode of bwaySHO, the podcast, cast, that dropped yesterday with Suni, one of the brilliant actors from Hamilton, and they're making Aunties in LA, this amazing Black-owned, community-based cafe that just sounds like the perfect thing. And when it opens and we can go out and do things again, I will be making a trip to LA, and I can't wait to go. So check that out. I mentioned the Showtreons, that's the bwaySHO Patreons. It's so fun, and your support is always appreciated. But also, fun fact, you can support for free by subscribing, by leaving a rating and reviewing on that podcast. We gotta plug it. We gotta just throw it out there.
Yes.
And on that final note, I thank you so much for spending your time and your energy with me. I feel so uplifted now after chatting with you.
Me too. I'm I'm gonna run the dog. He doesn't get to walk.
Yes. Let's go. We're going to the field. Come on. Oh.
The best part about NYC is no one thinks you're crazy on the street.
So perfect. No rules.
Everybody's crazy.
Everyone's crazy, just like me. Well, thank you. Can't wait for rap recess again coming up. And big love to you. Big love to everyone watching at home. Y'all are awesome. Be safe. Wear a mask right here. Wear your mask. Yes, exactly. Be careful. Look out for one another. Black Lives Matter.
Black
Period.
Lives Matter.
Mm.
Be an anti-racist. That's proactive.
Yes. Yes. Get that book. Practice it. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And we'll see you at the show. Bye.
Bye, guys.